CEO Vladimir Putin has told West sanctions regime versus Russia are detrimental for everyone and it is in everyone's interests to raise them. Talk in Austria, he told Russia had recovered steady increase, in spite the EU and US sanctions regime at first superimposed in 2014 following Russia annexed Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula. Austrian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz told his nation requested to act as a axle among Moscow and the Western. But he told he would not break down ranks during the EU on the sanctions regime question. It was Mr. Putin's at first travel to West Europe in nearly a year. Front of his trip, the Ruski lead told Moscow was not hard to break the 28-term EU. A quantity of Europe liberals include pronounced anxiety above shut links among the pro-Putin joint Russia side in distant right parties in the EU. The two Narodnik parties now governing Italy favor nearer bonds in Moscow and are both of Eurosceptic. Italy's new by the government has publicly named for a overview of EU sanctions regime, start in such how endanger civilian community in Russia. Relating to the West sanctions regime, he told, these actions are detrimental for everyone, both of for such who begin them and for such versus whom they are aimed. All has an concern in receive the sanctions regime raised, us too much, he added. Mr. Putin told Russia had surmount all difficult situation inflicted by the sanctions regime. Russia's accession of the southern Crimean Peninsula sparked the sanctions regime, that were after ratcheted up as Russia helping separatists in East Ukraine. Moscow has hit behind in resist sanctions on meal and raw material. More than rather than 10,000 human beings been annihilated with the dispute began in East Ukraine. Meantime, Chancellor Kurz told Vienna would apparently support the decisions of the EU, consisting the sanctions regime while Austria conducted above the EU's rotary chairmanship on July 1. He tells how the position in East Ukraine must enhance up the sanctions regime could be raised. Which several urge a brand new common Cold Warfare among Russia and the Western was as well spurred by Moscow's part in the Syriac civilian war and the poison of a ex-Ruski dual broker, Sergei Skripal, and his child, in southern England. The UK accused the Kremlin for how assault, Russia violently rejected any part in it. Pro-Putin activists been charged of propagating counterfeit news story on public print to erode the hard West position on Russia and assist authorized nationalists in the EU. In an interviewing in Austria's ORF TV front of his trip, Mr. Putin played downward the links among joint Russia and Austria's distant right Liberty side, the FPO. The parties include a company operation treaty, but the FPO denies claims it has acquired cash of Moscow. The side has several key posts in Austria's coalition by the government. It is in accusation of the Interior Design Ministry and Defense, and says it wants to get the EU sanctions regime on Russia raised. In comparison with largest EU governments, Austria's coalition did not remove diplomatic corps of Russia above the poison of the Skripals in Salisbury. Chancellor Kurz overtold Austria would solve pragmatically if to company operate in who politically. Italian Main Secretary Giuseppe Conte told Italy was in favor of discovery up to Russia, that provided a key affiliate for Italian industry. Austria, Italy and some EU state rely on Russia for and in several cases all, of their natural gas.